So I am not always all into the gossip blogs. Okay, yes I am. I'm a big gossip girl. I love the Shade Room and Hollywood Unlocked, all that stuff. Okay, I was on watching TMZ Media Takeout. I was one of those people that are on it and still on it every single day. Not Media Takeout, but the other gossip stuff. So there's something that caught my attention. There's this whole thing about Jess Hilarious and like I guess how she went live and through the Breakfast Club under the bus and about her possible replacement. I forget the lady's name, but she did go on, maternity leave because she had her baby. And the woman is still there, and she was just like, what are they trying to do? They're trying to replace her. And, apparently the other woman is very good. Like, she has a journalistic background. She's also a producer on the show, and she actually chose her. So I followed it up a little bit to figure out what was going on. And y'all are mean. Y'all are mean. Like, I know she's had her own ups and downs and whole things with other people and making fun of other people, and she didn't seem empathetic. But I'm looking at this clip of her on the Breakfast Club. I saw a couple of clips of her on her live, I guess, or her IG page. But when I saw her on the Breakfast Club, I actually saw a lot of myself there. I don't understand how women who've had children who have had to go on maternity leave come back, and that there's shit to deal with when you come back, and not empathize with this woman. Like, and I'm not talking about the producer girl. The producer girl, she came to her job, okay? Like, you hired me, you brought me on, I'm here for maternity leave. You want me to say, I'm gonna do what I need to do. I'm with good sis, okay? I'm with good sis. However, how y'all not gonna understand where Just Hilarious was coming from? Like, I actually felt very bad for her, because I'm like, y'all don't have no empathy? Can you imagine you having to go on maternity leave because you're giving birth? Can somebody please recognize that carrying the person, nursing them, taking care of yourself, the whole pregnancy process itself is no joke. And then you go and give birth, that your body needs to recover. You made a person, not a document, not a video. You didn't even build a house. You literally made a person. We all were carried by a person. That's why we all here. And y'all couldn't empathize with why she was upset. Man, there's so much crap that goes on in the corporate realm or whatever work field when it comes to having to, what's the word? I guess having to deal with coming back after maternity leave. I remember I saw a movie, what was it called? Knocked Up. And like, she was like a TV person, and as soon as she had her baby, they were like, how quick can you lose the weight so you can look, the way that you look? If the guy kept describing it as tight.
Just like toned and smaller.
Don't make everything smaller. I don't want to generalize that way. Tighter.
We don't want you to lose weight. We just want you to be healthy.
Okay.
By eating less. We would just like it if you go home and step on a scale and write down how much you weigh and subtract it by like 20.
20.
And then weigh that much.
Just remember, you've got it here, you've got it here, and everybody's gonna see you.
Tight. The pressures of just hitting resume. And here she is, coming back from maternity leave, thinking, all right, everything's gonna go back to normal, and her temporary replacement is still there. That's like if you were a teacher and they hire a substitute, and when you come back from maternity leave, the substitute's still there. Excuse me? I too would question. Now, do I agree with how she went about it? To each his own. I wouldn't have done that. I would have had a conversation. Apparently, her and DJ MV had a conversation about it, about her coming back and whether or not the other lady would be, whether the other lady would stay or not. I don't know why. If they had this conversation, I'm not sure why she was still upset. However, I did empathize when I saw her break down. Why am I so empathetic towards her? It's because I went through it too. Man, I felt like when I told my boss, this is back when I was in academia, I was a college professor, I told my boss, yeah, I'm pregnant. She's a woman who has children. And she's like, oh, well, congratulations. When you do. And so it worked out that I was giving birth in January. So that was the top of the semester. So it's just like, okay, you'll work the fall semester and then cover the spring. Man, these bitches really try to have me come back 6 weeks after C-section. It was HR that was like, excuse me, no, you're having a C-section. There's no way you can come back. They're like, well, I mean, she could work virtually. Okay. But you still expect me to physically go in to meetings. And so HR was like, nah, you cover for 6 weeks. And then for the last 4 weeks to hit that 16-week mark to get your full salary, you can do something else on the side remotely from home. We'll figure it out. I was like, okay, cool. Why would a woman put me through this? I don't know. And she sees this. I ain't mad at you, but you dead ass wrong for that. And it made me feel very small. Like I was replaceable. And sure enough, when the time came for me to get ready to go back for the fall, I didn't understand why I couldn't just go to my regular campus and do remote, like half and half, like I already was for the last, at this point, few years. But they were having me go to a campus that's farther out, and she knew that where I lived and the drive was further out. And I don't know. It just seemed like she didn't want me there. It seemed like all of a sudden it's like, well, you have to get ready to prepare for tenured. What are you doing for the colleges? And I do understand she had a job. So she has to do what she's got to do to take care of faculty, to take care of students and enrollments. And that's a tough job being a dean. And she was coming, and she was recently promoted to be dean. So I can imagine the pressures as a woman that she was dealing with, because again, she's coming up after a man, and it is a man's world. So who knows what she was dealing with emotionally. But for me, I'm like, I ain't saying to like baby me, but coming back, it's like changing every single thing, having me drive to campus 4 times a week. And at the time, they weren't on some old everybody to be back on campus every single day. I just couldn't understand why, at least for the first year or a semester, or have a conversation with me about, are you comfortable driving up to this campus? It's going to take you an hour and some change to get there, plus your regular campus. Like there was no conversation. It was do it. So I threw in the towel. I was like, I can't commit to this. I absolutely could not. And it was the best thing for both parties, because she then was just like, okay, well, I understand. And, I still teach for them part-time, but for a different department. And then she wanted me to come and teach an English class. She knew I got her, but I could not commit to that full time. I felt very replaced. I felt very like not needed. I felt very like, psh, and if you here, you here, you ain't, you ain't. I'm gonna make it so difficult so you want to leave. That's how I felt like she did me. So I was just like, I'm gonna search for a job, because the second they wanted me to come back ASAP, I said I need to start looking for another job. I was there for like almost 10 years. And it was not an easy decision walking away from being a professor. I mean, we're talking about a stable job. So, and it's a profession that I love. I was in academia for like almost 15 years or something like that. Professor Mack. But I'm not about to overly stress myself out with a newborn. And I was getting ready to have a hernia surgery. And then lo and behold, I ended up with, I found out I had a seizure disorder. So I wouldn't be able to work over there anyways, because my job wasn't remote. I had to physically be there. Imagine me giving a lecture and then season in front of a whole bunch of students. Yeah, that'd been a mess. So I don't think that it would have been smart for me to have stayed, because the universe, it worked it out so that I was going to pretty much leave, and it worked out. However, it still bothered me that she didn't have my back like that, to think through like, damn, she is going to be dealing with a newborn. She's recovering from a C-section. Maybe I could take it easier on her, or have a conversation. Now, when it comes back to Jess Hilarious thing, apparently they did have a conversation, but there was something very triggering to her that, why is my temporary replacement still here? Why are you acting like this is normal? And then a lot of the things that were tapping into her insecurities was people commenting. I guess she was reading the comments that the other girl was better than her. Like, they liked her better. And I don't know if it was she expected her other colleagues to be like, yo, it's not about better, we like her. I don't know what she expected, but I can understand that when you make a decision to have a baby, to expand your family, the frustration that comes with it, because men don't get this. A man can go and have 10 babies, and it's just, they're not going to get rid of him. They're not replacing his position. As a matter of fact, I read an article one time that said most companies prefer married men with children versus a single man because he's more stable. But they'd rather not hire a woman who has young children. Oh, why? Because she may have to go pick up her kids. But the ideology that she has to put her kids before a job, God forbid. I wish all these people who had this idea or ideology that, oh, well, women can't do this and women can't do that because they have kids or they've got small children or whatever. You remember you had a mama too. Whether your mama had a nanny with you or your mama was a stay-at-home, your mama had to sacrifice too. And the same judgment you're putting on other women for deciding to have children, putting their kids first, and God forbid going on maternity leave, that type of shame that you're putting on her, imagine someone doing that to your mama. Because again, you made a person. Why are people getting punished for this? This is how the world expands. If not, it's the end of the world. Walking Dead place. So I'm not saying lay off Jess Hilarious. She's had her own things. I get it. But have a bit of empathy for the woman. She literally gave birth. You don't know what postpartum she's still dealing with. I think you deal with postpartum for at least almost 2 years. You don't know the type of balance that she has to deal with. And then having to read comments. Because comments, I imagine at her level can be tough because they get flooded with it. And then I don't know where her confidence is at when it comes to her being on the Breakfast Club, because she's coming up after Angela Yee, which people are feeling like, ha ha ha, Angela Yee's out laughing. I don't think Angela Yee gives a damn. She's doing just fine. And Jess Hilarious is going to do just fine. And she said it. She was making money. She was doing fine before she got on the Breakfast Club. This is an opportunity for her. And I think she's very excited about joining it. So I feel like if she was so excited about joining them and all of a sudden here comes a newbie who could possibly take her place, I don't see why she wouldn't have that reaction. Just watching her cry and out of frustration, I know that. It's just like, I think them tears came from, why am I not good enough? Why am I not accepted? Was this wrong for me to have a child? She said herself, this is not an industry where you can plan this stuff out. You better just do it. She wanted to have a child. She made the decision to have a child and she had a child. Again, where's the shame in that? She went on maternity leave. She chose someone to take her place temporarily. And then when she came back, they still there. I would side-eye the situation too. Who wouldn't? I don't care if y'all like the other chick better. Whatever. You empathize with this woman. It is not easy being a mother, let alone a working mother. Let alone coming back to like a high-ranking job at the Breakfast Club. And your replacement is still there. I would be side-eyeing. I would have told DJ Envy and Charlamagne, excuse the God of me, why she's still here. Because it's temporary, right? That's the whole point. So all I'm saying is have a bit of empathy on old girl, because this ain't easy. Being a new mom, and she's not a brand new mom because she has a son, but being a mom to a small baby isn't easy. I can only imagine how much sleep she's actually getting. And then dealing with the emotional toll of people thinking that, we hope you don't come back to your job. Oh my God. But have a bit of empathy for her, because come on now. Y'all know. If it was you'd be all up in your feelings. You probably would have went live every single day since you got back. She held it in for as long as she could. So anyways, don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. Check out my Patreon page for all of my girlies who want some fertility tips and additional content when it comes to fertility and making a baby. Until next time, stay peace.